Welcome to LA Cyber
Welcome
Talks.
to LA
I'm Suhas
Cyber Talks.
Devdutta.
I'm Suhas Devdutta.
Echo RI.
Vora.
I'm Suhas Devdutta. I'm a
I'm for
cybersecurity and information security expert. So, today, for years, cybersecurity was discussed as a protection. Increasingly, this has to be discussed as a control. Who or what is allowed to decide, and how much exposure we're willing to carry, and whether the business can keep running when trust breaks at machine speed. Today, I want to find out where the next
Today, I
control
want to find
surface
out where
actually
the
sits
next
in the AI, in the identity layer,
the the
the
identity
infrastructure,
layer,
or in the people.
or in people.
Today, we have two guests. Our first
Today we
guest
have two
is
guests.
Major
Our
Sumit
first
Sharma.
guest is Mr. Sumit Sharma.
So, he's the CISO and
So he is
global
the CISO
global
and
cyber and digital
global
transformation leader
cyber
at
and
Tata
digital
Chemicals,
transformation leader at
where,
Tata Chemicals,
where his
where
responsibilities span
various
manufacturing,
responsibilities
supply
and
chain,
manufacturing, supply chain,
and enterprise platforms
and
across
enterprise
multiple
platforms
regions.
across multiple regions.
Before this, he was deputy
Before
CISO
this,
at
he
Mumbai
was
International
deputy
Airport,
CISO at Mumbai International Airport,
covering IT, OT,
covering
governance,
IT, OT,
and critical
governance,
infrastructure
and the critical
resilience.
infrastructure
He also
resilience.
served over
He also served
11
over
years in the Indian Army.
11 years
That
in
gives
the
him
Indian
something
Army.
rare in
That
this
gives him
field.
something rare in
A
this field.
leader who has
A
managed cyber
leader
risk
who has
where
managed cyber risk, where
physical operations
physical
cannot simply be
operations
switched off.
cannot simply be switched off.
Welcome, Major.
Welcome, Major.
Good noon,
Good
Suhas,
noon,
Komal. It's an indeed pleasure to join you. I think there is a problem of echo. If that backend team can just take care of that. Uh, Thank you
Yes,
for
there's a
giving a
slight
short
echo.
brief. Just to put it across, Indian Army is a very closed door kind of a domain. So there were a lot of things that we were doing, but when I transitioned as a second inning to the corporate, my counterparts or my panelists were still trying to understand that how Indian Army is contributing or they are having something at parlance with the civil domain. So while we go across, I'll try and put in some examples to give an understanding that how our defense forces are also at par and working on the technologies which are yet some of them are yet to be introduced to the for commercial grade protection. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be there on this panel. Back to you.
Thank you, Major. Let me first open this the first question with a claim rather than a question. So the industry is buying autonomy far faster than it is defining accountability. Plants are getting AI co-pilots, predictive maintenance, and automated responses, and almost nobody has written down which decisions a machine is never allowed to make. Is that unfair, or is that how the sector works today?
So this is a recurring question that I try and when my co-panelists keep on try and answer to it. But let me rephrase it. See, we started playing cricket before we had the helmets. We started driving vehicles before we have the vehicle safety norms. So this is not something new that we are facing in the field of AI. Even for the information security, whatever we have, the ISO standards or NIST standards, they have evolved after we had the technology to use. So similar is the case for the AI. We are still not sure what are the potential areas. We are still discovering. We are doing the pilots, POCs, and to be very frank, leaders across the globe are still trying to identify that whatever POCs or pilot projects they have done, if they would like to scale it to the to have actual the cost revenue proportion or the ROI, uh, will it certainly sustain. And till that time we are still in that discovery mode. These kind of challenges where we do a hit and trial, a feedback kind of a mechanism where something happens and then we retrospectively try and correct it. Also the leaders in this domain like OpenAI, Google, Hugging Face, Anthropic, these teams are as blinded to what is the potential of these neural systems, of these LLM. And as you would have seen that they also discover it retrospectively to put some guardrails. Also, given they exempt some of the guardrails, what is the potential risk and the impact that can be brought in? So this is a catch 22 situation. You can't exactly pinpointedly have a very thorough and a very foolproof mechanism. It's like chicken and egg, which comes first. One follows the other. So that's the approach we are following, and I'm very optimistic that given this pace is the pace at which AI is evolving, and the global standards are also getting evolved. ISO has come out with 42001. Then we have got Atlas, we have got OS LLM top 10 already being called out. This will further get augmented. And now even AI has not, which was primarily a sub segment to information security, has now evolved to become a full-fledged separate domain. So in colleges, while you would have graduated, it was computer science, information technology, and electronics. Now you would be seeing new graduates coming out of the colleges as AI expert or AI specific courses. So that's the journey we have to traverse. But yes, we don't have an answer as of now. We are still evolving. Back to you.
Thank you, Major. Next, I want to introduce Komal Vora. So,
Komal
our
Vora.
second guest today
So our
is
second
Komal
guest today
Vora.
is Komal Vora.
She is the Chief Information Security Officer at Equifax Credit Information, and she brings more than 25 years of experience across global and domestic banks, credit information, and Tier 1 consulting. She has led information security as Executive Vice President at Yes Bank, headed the IS audit IS audit vertical there as Group EVP, and led IT auditor for the Asia Pacific region at Mizuho Bank. Her work covers security tooling, regulatory compliance across multiple regions, cloud and digital transformation, data protection implementation, incident management, and responsible AI governance. Welcome, Komal.
Okay, hi, good afternoon, all. Thank you, Suhas, and hi, Major. So it's a pleasure being on this, and thank you for this opportunity. Uh, I basically gave the background, right? I come from BFSI sector, so from the consulting side as well as the banking side, multinational as well as Indian, both in the both the tenures. So it's a good learning and a good curve which I have experienced. So I'll share my thoughts on this. Thank you, Suhas.
Thank you. Yeah, welcome,
Thank
Komal.
you. Yeah,
Uh,
welcome, Komal. Uh,
yeah, the first I want to ask you about financial services have industrialized compliance, but AI has moved the tempo of the attack well past the speed of the rule book. By the time a control is written, approved, and audited, the threat has already changed shape. Has governance in this sector become something that documents risk rather than something that reduces it? Over to you, Komal.
Yeah. So see, governance became documentation because regulators demanded proof. Yeah. So we need to give assurance to our regulator. So as a BFSI sector, we are heavily regulated. So we need evidences and proof to submit to them, like RBI, CSF, certain DPDP now in work in progress. So all these regulators will require assurance on, because we deal in BFSI, we deal with PI data. So we need to have these kind of evidences also for giving assurance. But as AI moves faster than paper, 90-day control cycle, yes, they have become stale. But in BFSI, even there also there is a a good speed which we have picked up, that is on automation, that moving from document to detection more. So if I give example is in one of my tenure in an organization, we had scripted our what to say detection of gaps in the environment in terms of infosec policies and processes which the organization had drafted. So basically, those things are just run at the end of day, and then they extract certain gaps and analysis which the human in loop or the auditor or the reviewer actually intersect reviewers review. That is how we try to speed up the process of identification of gaps in the current environment of the organization, and in terms of hardening or the environment in terms of OS databases or network tools and security tools. There also there were images which were set. Okay, so there are hardened images which are loaded. So across board, all those hardened images are only installed on those machines and servers. So there are very less human errors. So everything is standardized, and things are implemented in a very standardized process. So there are very less gaps. Okay, so that is how we are speeding up and picking up with AI speed. So we are scripting RPAs. Those things are helping us to, even AI helping us to actually make the processes more effective, so that this gap of 90 days is reduced to max 1 or 2 days. So that kind of speed even the BFSI is gearing up for. So that is one thing. Another thing is, when we enforce in pipeline, the masking lineage vault by default as a design, as a code. Okay, it doesn't. So that will help when those things are defined and designed in the product itself as a design. Those things, the risk are reduced. And one more thing I would like to add is document is just an evidence, not control. So these kind of controls in terms of automation of identification of risk gaps, and then implementing those and mitigating with the automate way really helps to catch up with the AI speed. So that's the consideration which I would like to put forth. Suhas, over
Thank
to
you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Just
Thank
a
you.
just a
Just
point
a,
on that,
just a
Suhas.
point on that.
I was part of one of the
Mhm.
regulatory civil aviation industry. So how it works, and Komal can add to it. That regulatory body says you have to protect your data and you have to protect your asset. This is the bottom line where they start. So they don't actually, they roll out some controls. So what they say, you have to protect your asset, you have to protect your data. This is the bare minimum we are suggesting. Nothing is stopping you to have a overarching efforts or engagement. Now for that matter, they are expecting everybody build your own data center, and you will be as secure as it could be, because you will be having a control. But that's now how practicality works. You have third party vendors and dependencies, so on and so forth. So the regulatory teams, or the regulatory bodies, they are very clear. They are not dictating it to you, they are just rolling out some of the guidelines. You can always do much more than what they expect you to. Back to you.
Thank you, Major. Komal, you have anything to add on to this?
So in the regulatory world, when I always see them as a support and always a good help, actually to get budgets. Okay, so when RBI gives any mandate or any advisory, okay, so that we have to comply with. That is zero tolerance to non-compliance. So when we present this to our boards for getting budgets or my CFO, when RBI mandates and advisories are released, we get budgets very quickly. So even they have RBI or any other regulatory bodies of India now are very keen and very focused on security, and that is how that is boosting us and helping us to get these things streamlined in our environments. So thanks to our regulators, I would say.
Thank you, Komal. So, in this episode, I wanna have two lenses. One is control, and one is consequence. I want to hold two lenses across the whole episode. So, control meaning who or what gets to decide under pressure, and consequence meaning how large the blast radius is when the wrong thing fails. So, almost every question sits under one of these two. So I wanna talk about the Hugging Face OpenAI case study. So basically, Hugging Face disclosed recently unauthorized access to part of its production infrastructure on 16 July. So, and described the attack as driven and by an autonomous AI agent system. It reported the matter to law enforcement before it knew who was responsible. On 21st July, OpenAI confirmed the activity came from its own models during an internal cyber capability evaluation run by safety classifiers disabled and cyber refusals reduced. Basically, OpenAI called it an unprecedented cyber incident. The evaluation environment had no direct internet access. The agent exploited previously unknown flaw in one of the package proxy it was permitted to reach, got into the internet, then changed chain file disclosure, template injection, and stolen credentials into production systems. So yeah. So first question I want to ask on this. So these days, every vendor now sells an AI SOC. In that incident, in this incident, the defender's own AI security stack did correlate the signals into a coherent attack picture, but it did not raise the severity high enough to wake anybody up. Strip away the marketing. What should automation genuinely own inside a security operations center, and what must never be handed to a model.
So
Sumit and Major can be talking on the
yeah,
operation side,
yeah.
and
So
Komal can talk on the governance and
So
accountability side.
to start with that, Suhas, and I'll just share a very uh, interesting incident. Yesterday only, I was having a presentation with one of the partner who was presenting that given you bring in my AI SOC, you will get the detection capability, you will have observability, etc. And then my counter question was that you want to give me an impression that if Hugging Face had you, the incident would have not have happened. So then they were at back foot, and this is a very like dicey question that you can pose to any vendor who is making some claim, and they backtracked and rephrased what the claim was. So I can certainly relate to. But to start with, I'll break down the question or the expectation in two parts. One is like in any control or any guidelines, what is expected is that even before something is made live, there are edge cases that we are expected to have around any application or LLM or chatbot, where developers are expected or the quality teams are expected to test all the edge cases. Now in this case, probably some of the edge cases which even by your natural cognitive ability, people were not able to visualize or identify that this can also be one of the way where this AI can get out of the guardrail or bypass the guardrails. So even in the case they themselves brought down some of the guardrails, but the impact that it could bring, they were not very sure. So there are surprises coming to them. So we couldn't prevent. So first thing is that wherever a best case scenario will be that thing should have not happened at the first place. That means the prevention or the controls or the guardrails phase. Now the second line of defense is where you could have detected it, isolated it, and contained it, which they were able to do. The question was that how much time did they take to actually home on to identify and understand. Like you called it out, that it took them a lot of time, where we say mean time to detect and mean time to respond was not which we would be expecting for leader in the AI or IT field to have for any of their pilot testing projects. The last problem which is seen, or which was a outcome of learning of this incident, was that the same LLM which was doing all these things, when a version of that was required or taken up to do all the digital forensics, that was also not able to help them to get to the right cause, and some Chinese model was required to be brought in, which was not having any guardrail. So the thing that we see generally, that will be stealing our information or will be a menace to the organization, came in to our rescue. So just to summarize whatever we discussed, first is how to have a policy where adequate number of edge cases and the possibilities are brought to the table, and they are adequately nuanced, that what are the potential impact and what is the likelihood. So that means that even before we make any project live, seeing it as a pilot testing or UAT success case, there is more rugged quality assurance and testing that we would need. Second, given that quality has done due diligence and they have still there will be areas where gray areas have not been identified, the MTTD and MTTR that we are having, the competency that we need to bring in for. So there are security for AI and AI for security. The first part is that you are able to prevent is security for AI. So now that has to be at par with AI for security. So the LLM that are coming in to help you identify, detect, isolate, and bring down the impact, they have to go hand in hand. That's the only way out, as I see. But we are yet to be there, and we will train these. We will take these cases to train the AI, security for AI, and we will take the cases from security of AI to bypass, where we have to have more rugged and better guardrails for AI for security for AI and AI for security complementing each other. Back to you, Suhas.
Thank you, Major. Komal, you want to add your inputs on governance and accountability side?
But many things, but I would just like to give one thing, the basics. Okay, in SDLC, that is software development lifecycle, what is the base? Okay, every product also should have a non-negotiable constraint in the code, that is by design, in terms of security. All right, and human owner also has to be mandated basis the ISO 42001 as well as the regulatory requirements. So our regulator also has released the AI guidelines, how to the framework level, and how to put guardrails and what are the risks and all. So basis that, you need to define your LLMs and design your LLMs, go through all proper checks and balances, and and if there is no honor to any activity or action, then we don't have to deploy. That's a base, simple as that. So even if it is AI doing some activity, or some owner has to be assigned, so that anytime anything goes wrong, that person can be accountable. And anything and everything, whatever in terms of AI products or LLMs what we develop, okay, that has to be explainable or traceable. So these are the main basic regulatory and ISO 42001's requirement. So basis that, if we develop, I think, and see, it's a learning curve. Everyone is trying to learn, even the vendors, even us as a endpoint users and professionals, leaders, everyone. So see, as it's a new technology and everyone is trying to adopt, but we have to be extra careful. And BFSI being more handling PI data, so we have to be along with the real time money transactions. So we have to be extra careful. So human in loop is always recommended. So that is how we can play safe. So that is how the BFSI sector is taking, baby step to adopt these kind of products in terms of full-fledged actions. So we can have small micro, activities which may increase efficiencies, but at a major, deliverables or endpoints, a human loop is always recommended as per the regulation. Thank you, Suhas.
Thank you, Komal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, next, I still want to continue on
So
that. So basically, that agent, yeah, Major, you were telling something?
no, so human in the loop is also, I think, if we are going for agentic AI, we are bringing human in the loop. That is also a catch 22 kind of a setup, that we are again having an impediment and a challenge where human becomes the bottleneck. So that's for business to understand that how much that is practical, and what is the use case we are bringing in. Back to you.
It's a risk versus actual outputs, what we say. So we have to understand, because the DPDP Act 250 crores fine for the PI data getting leaked. So it's a huge cost. It may just close down someone's organization. So you need to play safe. That's the only thing. Always try, test, and then adopt by accepting the risk.
Thank you. Next, I still want to talk on that. That agent, yeah, that agent was not hostile. It was obedient. It perceived the goal it was given and treated every control between itself, and that goal was as an obstacle to route around. As organizations hand more approvals, priorities, and decisions to goal-driven systems, is that the real shape of what people are calling AI autocracy, AI autocracy, where authority moves to the algorithm and accountability settles nowhere? I want to ask this to both of you.
Okay, I'll take a lead. So on AI getting accountable. So let's just take a step back. While you are entity, so AI is an entity. Okay, for IT systems, it's an entity, and you being an entity, you are allowed to play around with whatever controls are vested with you only within the set boundaries. Okay, so you have got some privileges as a user. Similarly, a sysadmin has got some privilege as a user. So what I'm the theme or the principle I am trying to bring in is that uh, AI agent where with defined rules of the game, the privileges that are set to action, and having a complementing AI, like a maker checker kind of a concept brought in where one is doing it and another, and that's how the industry is evolving. They are not having a complete autonomy granted to a bot across the length and breadth of the enterprise. It is within the perimeter of a particular business process function where they are allowed to engage, communicate, and share and have their deliverables. So for enterprise security, another agentic AI as an entity, if we have a end-to-end visibility that what are the kind of guardrails we are putting, what are the kind of security controls, and also like Komal mentioned in our previous question, that traceability is something which is additional security control coming in. So if you open a PDF and you close that PDF as an entity, when system sees it, it's a normal activity. Vis-a-vis when a agentic AI opens a PDF and there is a white color text that is written, and if it reads and it makes a sense out of it to override something, uh, we have to see that that traceability at the level of what it is actually enacting upon, what it is able to read, that will certainly bring in more transparency that we will have as a guardrail. So first is we define the boundary for that entity. Second, what you are doing, which was being ingested in terms of the telemetry, like your end user system logs, your network logs. Now we are going a step further granular to the extent that we are not only seeing what file opening, closing, user account being accessed, but what is being done line by line as an action in each of those activity that has been taken up. So with that coming in, we will be having a more informed and nuanced approach to put the security to action. Back to you.
Thank you, Major. Komal, you want to add on to this? The
So,
governance side.
yeah, so, the key hygiene is the base, so fairness, privacy, make a checker, all those things, if in place, I think that should help, and you can take that lead ahead. So, that's the only key thing in this. So, always basic, need to know access given to the agents, and, limited and micro activities given, so that, and they are also micro segmented. Even if that agent goes wrong, it will only harm that small micro segment, not the other environment. So that is how we can try to de-risk our new technology. I mean, we can adopt new technology along with, mitigating these kind of basic hygiene can be followed. That will help. That's what is my take.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I wanna during
Next,
the cleanup.
during the cleanup,
Echo. During the cleanup, the defenders reported that some frontier models refused to help analyze the attack logs because the guardrails treat reverse engineering and exploit much like launching one. They finish the forensics on an open weights model instead. If offensive, my question is, if offensive capability is arriving faster than defenders are permitted to use it, what should the industry do about that gap?
So let be let's set aside the exact questions that you have asked around the offensive security. uh, I'm sharing one of the discussion points. So mythos came in, and that's wherein this entire offensive AI offensive security capabilities started to come into discussion. Now the point in time when this news was out and open, and I was party to one of the forum, and I asked, and this is for Komal also to come in, that as an enterprise and even for LA Technologies, you may be using your N-1 patching approach. Okay. So, given that you are having a 0D vulnerability is a part of the problem, but beyond that, even where the vulnerabilities are known, the patch has been rolled out, and you are expected to have that patch to put to place, most of the enterprise will be having N-1, N-2, N-6 kind of approach. So the point I am trying to bring in over here is the offensive security will always be having a lead over the blue teams. Okay, because blue team will have business at the core of their decision, right? So it's like I'll just give you a army parlance and example. So we are the defenders of the nation, and there are terrorists coming in. We foil 99% of the attacks, still one attack going success, and they have got all the news traction. 99 don't even get registered, right? So offensive security will have a lead. That's point number one. Blue team will be a mile bound behind. Point number two. Point number three, any security and as a philosophy do not work in silos. We work in defense in depth, right? So AI in that particular use case also, something that was mandated to safeguard us and didn't play to our advantage, digital forensic, etc. These in that case, that was a learning that how we can't be blocking all the aspects for blue team to have so like now from exactly blue we are moving to a purple team kind of a phase where we are not absolutely defensive, but we are also doing so. Another case, if we try and give a proposal that I'll do my red teaming or testing on a production environment, I can vouch for it that none of your leadership will allow you to do pen testing on your production. Now, given that this is the constraint under which a red team or a CISO works, but that is not a constraint for a offensive or a malicious or a rogue actor. So we have to mature not only in terms of the capability, but in the mindset that what I'm protecting exactly. Am I protecting UAT or am I protecting production? And if I'm protecting production, then the kind of testing and learning and awareness I need to have around the production, that is the key goal. There will be still see even Microsoft and Hugging Face has again reiterated on the fact that we will always be in a cat and mouse game. You can do very well in 90%, 99% of the areas, and you can keep your uptime at 99.99. I haven't seen any enterprise claiming that they can have 100% of uptime. So that's the area we are playing around, that how much nine we can have after that decimal. Is it 1 or is it 5 or is it 55? Over to you, Suhas, Komal.
Thank you. Komal, you
Thank
have
you.
something to add on that?
Komal, you have something to add on that?
Yeah. So in BFSI, what we do is we are guided by regulators. So what they tell us, in terms of offensive testings, what they say is first is UAT in production has to be in sync, so absolutely mirror image. You attend your offensive first on your UAT environment, and then you also test it on your production. So we are good to go. So that is how the approach, two-phased approach, we take in BFSI. So we take that risk of using offensive in my environment. I've seen across different organizations. and each one of us, in every organization we do this kind of methodology. It's a very process driven. Approvals are taken, and we keep everyone informed. UAT and production are in sync. First, we test it on UAT, and if everything goes well, in terms of red teaming activities, we also do it on perform it on production live. So that is how it is done. And touch wood, with God's grace, we are able to achieve those tests and very accurate results. And and we are able to maintain the expectation of our regulator also. So that is how we work in terms of our regulated banking sector. So thank you. Suhas, to you.
Thank
So
you.
I'll
Next
just
question.
add example. So Netflix has got something called as chaos monkey. So they have got a chaos monkey as a process. Now this monkey is a team who is offensive security team, and they will do anything and everything 24/7. So that's the charter they have. Like Komal is saying that we take approvals, we take informed approach. If you go back to your IT taking approval, you go back to the business, there will be some hygiene and sanitation or some method in the madness that will be put to play. See, we get off guard not when everything is known to the ecosystem. We want to test it that it is part of the process itself 24/7. So the network or the chaos monkey kind of a approach that Netflix is having, I think most of the Indian enterprise are yet to be there. But that is where we should aim ourselves to reach. That point in time now we are having this discussion. If someone from the chaos monkey team on a weekend is doing something, Komal should not get a call that something has got breached. Back to you.
Th- Thank you, Major. Next question I want to ask Komal. Uh, as we all know, ecosystem AI describes agents that optimize relentlessly around one user. Basically, it has only one user's priority in its system. What happens when thousands of these personal agents start colliding with enterprise controls, customer fairness, and shared risk?
OTP WhatsApp, please.
Should I repeat the
Sorry for
question
that.
again, Komal?
Yes, please, because I was into something. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Basically, I want to talk about ecocentric AIs. So, as we all know, recently, ecocentric AI describes agents that optimize relentlessly around one user. It has only that its particular user's priority in mind. So, what happens when thousands of these personal agents start colliding with enterprise controls, customer fairness, and shared risk?
Uh, so when see actually in BFSI, still people are experimenting with these agents. Okay, so I am part of many groups, and we are certain peer meets where we exchange the progress or share the experiences of their progress in terms of AI models and agents and all. So what I understand in BFSI sector is still people are experimenting, and we are, as I said, we do small activities. So everyone is playing very safe by just doing micro activity to improve efficiency. So still in BFSI sector, we still are on a phase where we are attempting testing and trying to see if things work well. Then only we go live. So that is how we go on, and it's a good journey which we will all go together, where we will progress and ensure that if thousands of agents, if those kind of big model projects are implemented in our environment, how we can manage those risks. So prior testings will be done with small activities, and then only we will go for these big projects in BFSI, because as I said, we deal with customer data, and BFSI only runs on trust. So if that trust is breached once, you cannot say, "Oh, we went wrong and it's sorry." I mean, so there is no, I mean, zero tolerance to that, because we have, I mean, the regulator also imposes huge penalties on banking sector, and that is the reason the reputational risk is quite high. So, that is how what I would like to say in this particular case. Thank you, Suhas. Back to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Komal. The next question I want to ask, Major, you were telling something?
No, egocentric are very strong case for the manufacturing industry, right? So these days you would have seen people wearing cameras and making or capturing the actual hand movements and more details. So they are more relevant to manufacturing, and we are and most of the enterprise are planning to go as a future plant of the future kind of approach, where we were trying to gear up ourselves as industry 4.0, but now we have to take a leap of bound and jump to where AI, autonomous agents, all these things are required to come in. Now, given these use cases, like in my case or any enterprise case, will be very area specific. Suppose a bot is required to be taught how he has to stitch. So even in stitching, weaving a sweater and stitching a blazer will be very two different skill set that they would need to learn and mature on. The only good thing or only respite over there is it don't have any PII kind of data. So even if I don't have a hundred of blazers stitched properly, the impact, the kind of impact it's bringing is either on the quality, or if these autonomous bots are doing something in the, suppose they are controlling the boilers, or they are controlling the conveyor movements, or stocking of the loading unloading of the raw materials, etc., can bring in the safety into play. So if I leave aside the data privacy and the data security that will be of interest of Komal, for us it is more around the safety and integrity of the kind of data we are having to mature on that. Egocentricity on the shared model, more of like from the data centricity, that who is giving, what is giving, has got a less of impact in terms of breaching the or DPDPA as a act coming in is more centric around the digital identity of an individual. But I see less of an impact around egocentric AI learning and autonomous bots from the data standpoint, and more of from the security and the sustainability standpoint.
Thank you, Major. Next, I want to ask something like a lighter question, which is quite common these days. Voice, video, and writing style are now very cheap to imitate. So, what should replace I recognize this person as an approval control?
I think is more pertinent to Komal because proving one's identity, access, authorization, and zero trust is what plays more on the finance. First, she can touch it
Sure.
upon, and then I can augment it with my comments.
Yes. So, as I said, as a BFSI, we deal with all PI data. So, we have to be extra careful. So, what we have done is, uh, see, we have replaced things like and implemented things like crypto and passkey and tokens for identity, then intent for hash of what we can approve. So those kind of controls we have set in place, for high value transactions and all, so that these kind of attacks of deep fake or voice manipulation, all those things can be reduced. And security awareness of employees and staff, and even the our customers, we try to educate and aware them by issuing certain email awareness programs, as well as on the LinkedIn and our websites, and the mobile bankings also, so that people are aware of these kind of threats which come in, which may land them in trouble. So what are the do's and don'ts of those threats which enter in, so they will realize or get alert. So and regulator also has helped, where a certain transactions which gets executed from the digital platforms, okay, they will be put on hold for a while, so that the end user is comes to know later that it's a fraud, or because of the some kind of manipulation the hacker was able to crack and execute any legitimate illegitimate transactions that would help the end user to come back to regulator, and then it can be reversed. So that is how regulator also is helping in this kind of environment, where as far as the transactions are concerned in terms of exchanging of money. So this is the good best control which the regulator has put in, which helps the end user. So that's as far as the BFSI sector is concerned. So, Suhas, to you, back to you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
on the proving the identity of an AI host, again, AI is another employee of mine. Okay, so just like I'll have, okay, how the journey has been. We had username passwords always. Okay, then we found that username password are not good enough. We need to have some multi-factor authentication put to place. So we brought in biometric, we brought in SMS OTP, and now if you would have read recently, Microsoft has also come out that initially you were having the hardware UB keys also wherever there are critical systems. So you have to plug it in and you have to carry it physically. But the problem was it used to get lost, and then it was a very lengthy process to get it changed. But now, very rightly brought out by Komal also, that cryptographic kind of control and the passkey kind of a control. So now, Windows, you don't, of how Windows sees it, that you can enable the passkey. Now, passkey is a cryptographic control. You don't have to carry the key per se, but your mobile. So first is your system and your mobile, and you have to be triangulated at a one place, and then only it will allow you the access. So cryptography is something, thing which will ascertain, proving the identity. It will not be, uh, it will not be so easy to bypass it, but the current cryptography and encryption mechanism, given the quantum computing is also developing very fast. And you would have heard like harvest now, decrypt later kind of a approach. We have to see how fast this crypto thing can be adopted as a part of the culture and brought it across, because it comes at a cost. So if I have to go back to my management, and they say or ask why is my MFA not good enough, I have to have a very strong case to reflect upon that. What are the areas where cryptography actually is needed to be invested? So that's the way ahead. Back to you, Swas.
Thank you, Major. Next question I want to ask Komal too. So boards love one number, exposure scoring, sometimes shortened to an ASES or attack surface exposure score. Premises basically it promises exactly that. If this score says risk is improving, what should a leader verify before believing it?
Uh, so see, when we go to the board or the CFO, they understand only one language, that is all figures, okay, finance. So they understand credit risk and market risk. So what I usually do is, I go to them for any requirements or approvals of the budget with giving the impact or the loss. So if I give you one quick example is, so if I have to implement certain controls, like say I have to implement a real time AI based fraud monitoring tool and MFA also in certain legacy systems. So then what I will do is I will just try to the AI applications and the frauds which have happened in last year from the data analytics team and get that figures. So say if an example if I can give you is if my UPI loss fraud loss was last year say 18 crore, okay, how can I reduce now to and have a savings also. So I'll have to implement certain controls on that. So if I spend, say, return of investment of, say, spending of MFA, as well as implementing fraud AI real monitoring tool in my environment, that would save me 14 crore. Okay, so the spend is 4 crore for these implementation, and my impact is reduced, so that's why it is 14 crore. So that is how I try to explain them to the board and the CFOs, so that they will understand the impact. And another thing is, board and CFOs and all, they also understand one thing is that in the BFSI sector, regulatory requirements are mandatory. There is no, and there is zero tolerance to any non-compliance. So when they also come back with certain advisories, we have to implement those tools and controls. So it makes, and it pushes those controls in place, at least for BFSI sector. So that really helps in terms of regulatory. So that is our stand whenever I try to go to the board or the CFOs that get my budgets on any of the AI tools and all, defending tools. Yeah, over to you, Suhas.
Thank you, Komal.
Okay, I'll just go.
Next,
I'll just go next.
yeah, 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 sure.
So just a pointer. It is easy buy-in for Komal because regulatory body backs her up with all the requirements. For us, it is little bit different, but trust me, the way India is evolving and the journey which India is already on, leadership understands that. But so budgets are not a problem, tools are not a problem. At least even for us, so in a manufacturing budgets. The problem is how good your effectiveness is. So efficacy is something which we struggle with. In board, if I go and I say I've got 80% of my security score, basis some logic, they will ask me about balance 20. If I go back to them that I am 99% secure, they will again ask me about 1%. So for that leadership, they will always keep you pushing for betterment and achieving more. So given they understand your logic and rational, and they back you up with the right kind of support and budgets, I think India will soon be secured, cyber secured and cyber safe place to be. Back to you.
Thank you, Malaysia. Next, I want to talk about identity sprawl. Basically, identity sprawl have multiple accounts of the same user in an environment. So, I want to talk about key sprawling basically. So, key sprawl may be worse. Basically, it's not just API keys, service credential tokens, and secrets carried across clouds. So, is key sprawling now one of the least governed sources of exposure in the enterprise? Sumit can talk from the OT perspective, and Komal from the cloud and the security as a service perspective.
Okay, from OT perspective, see, first thing we have to understand, even all these OT thing that has come in is like last 2010 was the first Iran nuclear Stuxnet kind of a thing that came into the existence, and ever since then the discussion has started to roll out, and now everybody speaks about OT, even without understanding it to the length and breadth. But people know there is something at risk. See, most of the OTs in the legacy systems, OT system has got a shelf life of somewhere around 40 to 50 years. So anything that got implemented in 1990, I'm still living with it. I would be having it to my plate. So first thing is all those OT systems were the kind of API proliferation was there in 1990. No. So what OT is getting susceptible is because of the new API or IT trying to get into and extract more and more information from the OT system. OT system by design are not secure. Now there is a method in place where you introduce some risk and fetch that information in a controlled manner. API sprawl to be very frank, it is one of the key risk area that lead to my sleepless nights. And there are times where some small vendor develops some funny API using Claude or Copilot, or some intern making something, and it shows as a POC for his project, and then he leaves, and now all entire business is behind me that we want to scale it. So from the security standpoint, like in the OT kind of IT OT segregation, etc., that we are having, so we try and curtail the access for the sprawl. So even if this happens, this is the reality that I need to struck with. I see how much impact does that bring. Is it a localized impact? Is it a system? And given, like I told you, there is less of a data over there and more of like from the production standpoint, how much impact it brings in. So we are yet to mature on API security, but we are having very limited footprint around the lines on the OT. IoTs are something where API security is coming in. I recommend all the enterprises and the team members who are listening to us, we shouldn't go for a buy-in where IoT cameras, IoT sensors are being brought in just to have some fancy things, because they are not adequately tested. Most of their pieces are coming from the countries which are hostile to India. There were cases where army headquarters was having OEM from one of the hostile nation, and during Operation Sindoor, they were ingesting all those video telemetries to pick up that what we were doing in our war rooms. So it's high time that we start understanding the kind of impact it can bring in. Back to team, over to Komal.
So yeah, in terms of key sprawl, when we say uh, API keys, service credential keys, tokens scattered across clouds, pipelines, so tools. So that's the area which is very very gray area and very risky area. But what we have done in our we have certain IIM tools which are now implemented, which are AI enabled, and IIM. So that helps me to actually get me visibility between my on-prem as well as cloud environment. So I get a full inventory of human identities as well as agentic identities and keys and all. So that kind of IAM we have implemented, and the dashboards help me get visibility. But the key, because see, I'll tell you one thing which I have seen in this in my journey in terms of API is uh, that's a least governed area, because there are many teams who are involved. So like development owns the code, then you have cloud owners and infra owners, and then security owns their own vaults, and but no one owns this sprawl risk. So it is a gray area where we need to collaborate as a team and try to ensure that we bring awareness, limit need to know basis access. And one thing which I would recommend to for all identities, every key should have an owner for expire and along with the expiry. And so if there is no owner, you need to revoke that in 7 days. So that is what is the customized rule book or playbook we should follow, so that uh, so key sprawl doesn't become a tool problem, then it will only remain as a ownership problem. And if you identify that gaps and then tag it to the owner, then that really helps to control this risk in a better way. So that's my take as far as this area of concern. Over to you, Suhas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh, Next, I want to talk about in fragile or high availability environments, when does active scanning create more risk than insight? And where is passive discovery enough truth to act on?
So I think this is more relevant to the area of OT. So
Yes.
just to give an understanding to our audience, see, like I told you, all these systems which are under OT and which are live in any of the manufacturing or petroleum or oil and gas, in anywhere in the globe, these all systems were designed over the protocols that were primarily the proprietary protocols, and they are more interested, or those protocol was not having the access authorization kind of a thing put to place. So there was no encryption headers that were there. There was no packet deep packet inspection kind of a thing that was required for them, because this communication was between one switch, or one system to another system, which is supervising the real time effort. So you just think of it that you are in a building and it catches fire. Now if I switch on a button, or or water sprinklers, if they take even a few seconds more to act, everything comes with at a cost of life that could have been saved in that stipulated time. Also, any packet drop that happens in the exchange, in case of, so TCP is like a authentication kind of a protocol. Modbus, or all these industrial control protocols, they don't get this validation that okay, is my message completely has been forwarded to you, and it confirms back as a acknowledgement. So it's not like SYN kind of a system is not there. It's all SYN. So point is, when you start doing the active scanning, it introduces additional packets, and that packet starts colliding with the actual message packets. And in that case, if the message gets dropped, your SCADA or your supervisory system will start thinking that since I haven't heard from this XYZ PLC, this PLC is out of function, or it is not working, and it may start enacting the by default or design instrumentation safety mechanism, or it may start giving the same command twice. So these are the kind of nuances that we have to face in terms of the active scanning, and that's why OT is not for active scanning, and it is not practice. The passive scanning, how it is successful and what it is able to do and achieve, is it is just duplicating or creating a mirror copy of the entire network, and from there, given it is like more of a backup, a localized backup that is created, that is being used to do all the analytics and find out what is happening and not. And like I told you, in OT there is very limited data. It's more of about the safety, integrity, and availability, and less of the confidentiality of the data. Passive scanning is what we prefer in OT, bringing in the minimum impact. Even in the passive, the case and scenario where the kind of the frequency at which it is scanning, or the backup that is being taken, there are multiple dimensions to it before you do it, because it has to be done in a very informed way, taking the OEM of that industrial control system into confidence that it doesn't have a conflict. So that's the equation while implementing, and the value that we draw is more around end of life system. We know that there will be end of life system, there will be less of antivirus, there will be less of patching, but how controlled and how governed it is, and how much exposed it is, that is where so it's more about governance and less about the tools. Back to Swaz.
Thank you, Major. Next question, I wanna talk about a case study which is more relevant to Komal's expertise. So I want to talk about a case study about an Indian bank. So the bank was compromised. The bank confirmed the compromise of an employee email account, resulting in unauthorized access to certain data. It said the matter was promptly identified, containment measures were implemented, and its core banking systems were not accessed and remained secure. But separately, researchers tracking dark web monitoring reported a large volume of claimed data. The bank did not confirm its volume or authenticity. So, about this incident reportedly began with one employee email account, not a zero-day vulnerability or exploit. Does that tell us the bigger risk today is often one compromised identity having access to too much data?
So, in BFSI and the regulatory advisories which we follow of cybersecurity frameworks, what we do is a individual or staff has a limited need to know basis access. So it is only restricted to his or her profile, right? So even if, God forbid, if that person's access is compromised, the attacks impact is very limited to that particular staff's data access or application limited role access. So So this is how we always do basics, need to know basis and role based. So if a particular person or a staff has whatever work he has to do or she has to do, only that much access being provided and restricted. And that also at the administrator levels, at the critical server levels, what we do is it's time bound. Okay, so even if the there are certain privileged identity access monitoring tools in place in the environment of banking sector, where so any activity to be done or performed by the administrator, the end user, the IT end user has to actually log into his or her account, and then take the administrative privileges adopted. So that goes through a PIM, and then that person is given for a particular time frame for a particular activity. So that gets very closely monitored, and it's a limited time frame. So that is how we try to mitigate the risk of these kind of compromise, which may happen in spite of we giving security awareness to everyone in terms of do's and don'ts of phishing and all those things. And yeah, in banking sector, another thing is any incident which happens in terms of phishing or any unauthorized access or data leaks which happen in the environment, we are supposed to, it's a mandatory requirement that each and every bank has to, BFSI has to follow. Within 6 hours, we have to report them to the regulator. So maybe it will be the first phase where we immediately, whenever it is identified, we inform. Then the root cause analysis and all those things are done, and then again, the exchange of information to the regulators. That is how it is done. And if we do not do that, we are penalized, and the reputational risk also hits, and the customer trust is lost. So these things are very access control. Okay, user management is a key in the BFSI, and we keep it very very restrictive and time bound. Okay, and the entitlement reviews also, which happens quarterly, that's a mandatory, and and each and everyone is accountable for any thing which is missed, or there are certain KPIs within the environment for the leaders also, as the senior managers or leads of the vertical, that if they do not do their entitlement reviews, that is user management redundant, if the user is, or the profile of that person is different now, the person has to be, the staff's all access and rule based access has to be revisited, and then it has to be corrected. So that is how we try to, I wouldn't say in BFSI phishing attack and all those kind of leaks doesn't happen, but this is how we try to reduce it by giving the security awareness trainings to all staff. If they fail, again and again, repeated trainings are given, warnings are given, and after three warnings also still the person makes mistake, then the person is also moved out of the organization with a strict termination. So those kind of controls and strict measures are taken for any mistakes also in the BFSI. So everyone has to be that vigilant and trained, and again they have to be trained to give them the awareness on these kind of aspects of this. So that is how we try to streamline and strengthen our environment and give awareness to our staff in BFSI. Over to you, Suhas.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Next, I want to ask about a case study major. So this is about a major cola plant. So the production was stopped, but no data. So unauthorized actors accessed certain systems at a subsidiary of a global cola and beverage group, including systems relating to production. To contain the incident, the company suspended its United States production operations and activated incident response and business continuity plans. The parent group stated that there was no indication that product quality or safety was affected. The Canadian operations were reportedly unaffected. So, what I want to ask on this, so NIST CSF 2.0 pull governance into the core of the framework as its own function. In critical infrastructure, does that genuinely change resilience, or does it mostly rename what good organizations were already supposed to be doing?
So, like uh, in multiple question exchanges, I have called it out and I'll just call it out again. You can always do more, and your leadership will be expecting you to do more by default. Okay, so that's the rule of thumb. Now, coming to NIST CSF 2.0. And again, like we discussed in one of our discussion, one of the response in one of the question, that initially data security, AI security, environment security, uh, everything was part of ISO 27001 2012. Okay, then we thought no, for AI we need a separate governance, and we came out a full-fledged AI 42001. Then we thought no, data privacy is also important. We came out with, so the individual controls or the areas are growing at a stage where each one of them has become an independent area of expertise. Okay, so uh, given that was the case and scenario, and NIST was already having a security framework which is followed for US, and even we get our NIST review done around the govern identity and protect. It gives you another lens to see that whatever people process technologies are there at the core, how effective they are. Also, the good part is that they give you a global benchmarking for each of the domains. So manufacturing will have one, hospitality will have another. So they will try and give you that if you are somewhere around this, you are reasonably okay. It's a optimum versus ideal kind of score. In this particular case, and like I've told you, that any company quantifies or sees the risk from the standpoint that is it a data breach or data loss, or a data penalty or a regulatory issue that facing, or is it that my production has got impact. So in this case, and in any of the cases where OT is involved, like Tata Jaguar Land Rover was one of the incident, Stuxnet Iranian nuclear plant got impacted, Ukraine during the Russia-Ukraine war. These all bring in the impact to the very core of human sustenance. So you sitting at your home, a blackout will impact you, not at individual level, but at the either in entire industry or entire country, or the economy as a whole. So impact is pretty big. It is not a enterprise specific, but like they have called it out that it do not bring in any impact in terms of the integrity or any of that those nature. The problem statement rightly identified that, and I'll have a different problem statement which what Komal said there. In regulatory body, na, you will be augmented with adequate teams to do user access review, to have a joiner mover lever kind of a process put to place. In the enterprise which are not having the core around the data, or which are not so much regulated, and there is no much so much stringent, most of these services or these processes will be outsourced to some of the vendor. Okay, so all those vendors will be doing or meeting an SLA that you have already drafted last year when you got into the contract for 3 years. Okay, now the cyber is emerging, and the rate of emerging has also got expedite. It's speed up at a stage that whatever rules were there 3 years back do not hold true any which way down the line, but you are very limited to do. So in the industry other than regulated, having those kind of hygiene and sanitation is a problem, and that's wherein we try and see that these kind of impacts are brought into these OT systems, where OT teams by themselves don't want IT at all. But it is that if we absolutely black out IT from the OT, the kind of value that IT can bring in the terms of the predictive maintenance, in terms of the analysis, in terms of the quality proposition. So there is a bargain that we have to live with. There is a way of doing it in a more controlled manner. And like we discussed, we will never be there. It's always be a cat and mouse game. It's infinite game. If I stop 99, there will be still one which will have a impact, and people will come back and ask question. Back to you, Suhas.
Thank you, Major. Next, I want to talk about CISA keeps pushing back on the same OT basics. Know your assets, control remote access, segment the network, keep reliable backups, and test manual fallback. Why do you think organizations still chase advanced security tools before getting these basics right?
See, it is for two reasons. If I want to put it, see, shelf life of any CISO, and including Komal and me, in any enterprise, how long do you think one CISO serves an enterprise? given the dynamics of the environment. Not more than 3 years on an average. Okay. Now you have got 3 year in your mind from the day you join, and you have got a bucket of things at your end. If you are trying to have the basics right, you will never be able to put across the impact that you would want your leadership to see, because till that time you are only preparing the ground for these tools to come in and actually bring some value. So what is the easy way out? First is this challenge is there, so we don't address, but given this is a public forum, I'm just giving out what I feel. Second is, see, even the passive tools that we are bringing in, I will never have a case and scenario even for IT, leave the OT apart, where IT team is sure that what is their IT inventory, until and unless I have got a proper ITSM tool, proper LEN sweeper kind of a tool where my network is getting scanned. You will always see that EDR will give you different inventory, your SOC will be monitoring something different, your IT stock will be something different. So in OT, most of the industrial control systems are being supported by the OEM. They are outsourced, as in, you just give me the service uptime of my plant for 99% of the time. So, given that we have outsourced, and these OEMs have also lived and proven over the test of time that they have been able to deliver. The only thing that leadership don't understand when they see retrospectively is that what was true for tomorrow doesn't hold true for today. So these OEM who have lived over the test of time, even they are required to be challenged that what are you are doing, and they have got monopolies. I have tried to break that monopoly in airport over here. Trust me, there will be very little buy-in from your leadership, given these teams. You can't challenge the entire enterprise as an individual. So to bring in those basic hygiene, someone will come back to you, see, we are doing best. You don't try and trespass to the areas. We will give you whatever you want. Now you have to live by the face value. You have to trust the teams. See, you can't running you can't be running the shows. So there is a bargain. Okay, so basic, you start assuming that basics are there in place, though once incident happened, it is other way around. Okay. So we try and take both the approach at the same instance, that even if I'm not, see, I'm getting a manual feedback that I've got this asset inventory. Now I'm bringing in network detection system, NDS kind of a thing, passive discoveries I'm doing, and reconciliation now becomes my task. Okay. So more I am trying to get the inventory and get people to work, that adds to the amount of work that I need to do without having the kind of augmentation in the team in itself. So there are multiple dynamics. Technology you can bring in, culture you have to improve, people you have to have that trust and confidence across the board. Then only you work as a team. So if I see it, I am the CISO, whatever I'm telling you have to do it, it doesn't happen that way. You are one plus member of that 11 squad of 11. आपको पानी भी पिलाना पड़ेगा. You have that shoulder rubbing with them on ground to understand what are their challenges. And then once you understand their dynamics and come in to say that we are here, and that is what required to be done. So I'm saving, or I'm bringing that confidence at the leadership level, that there are new tools coming in, and we have some shape and form. At the same time, whatever is at the backdrop, I'm trying to pull it up and put it to the best possible shape. It will never be 100%. But it's a journey. Back to you, Suhas.
Yeah, thank you, Major. Next, I want to talk about that same incident, that Kola factory incident. In that incident, the pressure was not stolen data, it was stopped production. So when operations halted, should the primary metric be time to full recovery or time to save minimum operation?
Okay, so I think most of the audience who would be listening this may not be actual in detail aware about this US incident, but I'll bring in very very relevant. So CrowdStrike incident happened in India 2 years back. Blue screen of death. There was some patch pushed, etc., etc. So I'll try and put a simile around it. Now you would have known, it was all in the news, that airport got crippled. There were airlines that got impacted. Okay. Now, given that no data was getting compromised in this case, but the services, someone, something, some the movements that was organically required to happen was not happening. Okay. So in the case of any enterprise, the kind of impact it will bring in is that organic the rotation of the entire start to end process will get stalled. Okay. So if your one of the conveyor belt is not moving, it will impact the previous process and it will impact the next process because it is not feeding and it is not getting fed. So there will be these backlog and you need to have a manual bypass to it. How long you can manually bypass? So actually I have created the manual boarding pass and I have issued to the passengers. I've created that tambola printout to cross out and allot the seats to the people. So these enterprises will be having business continuity plan. Now the challenge is how we anticipate in a controlled manner the BCP plans and drills that are happening. And like I challenged Komal in one of the discussion that we will tell everybody we will be having BCP today. Now all the printsouts are on my desk. Team have been told no other duties, there is no roster, all the technicians are at standby, and then we do it in a very controlled manner where everybody knows something is happening and people are dictated, told and briefed. Okay, some new person would have come in and he will be briefed that you have to do these 2 3 5 changes. It doesn't happen very organically once you are struck by an incident in actuals. So what we have started to do is regarding the BCP activity, we have divided it in multiple phases, and similarly in the case of the US also, the mean time to detect and mean time to respond has multiple teams working upon it. So there will be a there will be a SOC team who will be doing investigation. Meanwhile, it is doing the investigation. You can not restart using your same system. So then there is a IT team who is bringing up the new server, who is bringing in all the backups. Then there is this OEM who is required to configure his PLC to speak to this new IP and host name and it's all those details. And then we capture the actual timings for each team to do their drills. uh, Still there will be some buffer we need to keep, that if we in this controlled environment, if we have achieved it in suppose 24 hours, we will try and keep it another 12 hour of buffers or 8 hours of buffer to our advantage. That something will still be there. Will be lack of communication, coordination, bringing everybody on the teams. That kind of rigor and initiatives are there at a national critical infrastructure like airport, where Indigo team, Akasa team, I'm naming it out for all the applause for this team, where they actually knew, they had those printouts ready, they had those unprinted boarding pass ready. Their team at the kiosk counter were feeding people for food, they were making their lines aligned, and they were displaying it on the placard that your boarding gate is this. These kind of nitty-gritties at national critical infrastructure, if your BCP plans are adequately rehearsed, people know, they have been timely updated, reviewed, and it has got a buy-in from the leadership, it happens. I've seen it happening at the airport. We are trying to incorporate same kind of a rigor in the current enterprise, so it is achievable, doable. There will be case and scenario where we fail, but given the national critical infrastructure, the impetus that government has also brought in to have this is actually they ask us to produce all those reports. So we are almost there. Back to Swaz.
Yeah, to me. Next question I want to ask Komal regarding data and accountability. AI chatbots are becoming internal pilots for employees and the these hallucinate, over collects data or gives unsafe guidance. Who actually owns this risk?
So actually, chatbots actually the product owner owns it actually, not the CISO, right? So, but yeah, when these things are developed, okay, as a product, security does some functional assessment, risk assessments, and there those guardrails and controls of privacy and all those things are embedded in the at the design phase, at the code phase only. So, but business owns the actual ownership of the chatbots actually in our enterprise environment in BFSI sector. Uh, but one thing which, as a security leader, what we always ensure in our BFSI is, you know, each and every chatbot has to have certain data boundary. So, what it can access, what it will respond, and and that is very clearly defined and clearly coded, so that things don't go wrong. And then once the chat box, it gives handoff to the humans, and then the full uh, logging of everything from the initiation of chat till handing over to the human. All things are audited, time stamped, and those things, that visibility is there, so that if anything uh, uh, goes wrong, so then we know what went wrong where and who is accountable for that. But as a product itself, as a chatbot, it's owned by the product team in BFSI. So that is how it goes in our environment. Back to you, Suhas.
Yeah, thank you, Komal. Next, I want to ask, as AI absorbs repetitive analysis, evidence gathering, and documentation, which cybersecurity roles shrink, which grow, and which genuinely new hybrid roles are appearing? Any opinions on that?
Komal, if you can take that, I think you are having more AI proliferation in BFSI.
Yes, yes, yes. So, see, in our environment, we have definitely adopted this the defending and systems with AI enabled technology. The reason being is attackers, hackers are using AI left, right, and center to attack this critical infrastructure, that is banking. So we have to adopt, because if AI attacks are happening, we cannot have manual defenders trying to because ultimately it is a human being, and limited time frame in terms of focus or alertness, and also we have to have AI enabled technology embedded in our defense, cyber defense security tools, and we heavily invest in that. And we invest in XDRs, that's extended detection response systems, where if things are detected, it goes auto. Because in BFSI, one more thing is there, that our systems have to be working 24 by 7 and 365 days. But even if we put shifts in terms of human, in terms of the staff, then also the attacks, the surface threat attacks which enter in our environments are very huge. So what we have done is we have implemented certain XDRs which are AI enabled, and that helps us to bring down and prioritize the alerts and notifications which happen on the environment, so that the L1 staff leads can actually pick up the critical ones and high ones, and then try to remediate or action upon. So that is how we have to adopt this. There is no option. But yes, because of this, a bit of the reduction in things happen, because everything is now quite automated. So what I would say is, a log which used to get reviewed by a L1 or staff in that 8 hours of his or her duty, now can be done within maybe 1 hour or maybe 30 minutes. So that way, those tools are helping us to actually respond and protect our environment. So each and every banking companies have to have adopted these things, and so that it helps them to protect from the AI attacks. So so it's always, but the one thing is there, with these AI enabled tools coming in, the staff also has to upgrade themselves, and then new opportunities are developed because of that, because everyone has to upgrade. And so I would say that job doesn't go, but the thing is the role changes. Okay, so that is the main key in this. So one has to keep on, in BFSI we have, in cyberspace we have to keep on upgrading, and adopting new technologies and doing risk assessment continuously, so that we can push back our and be on a slight upper edge of hackers, so that the risk or the loss is are reduced at our end. So that is what the say for this question from my side. Back to you, Suhas.
Thank you, Komal. Uh, Next, I want to talk about a single, basically, next question to Komal itself. A single customer record. A single customer record can pass through a domestic system, a regional cloud, a global monitoring team, and an AI service within minutes. How does an industry build one operating model that survives GDPR, the DPDP regime, and the local sector rules at the same time?
See, each and every bank, okay, is have to follow these whatever framework has been set by regulators. So we are almost ready for DPDP. The reason being is, wherever there are exchange of information or data across borders, okay, GDPR gets I mean is applicable in scope for any of the banks, and the DPDP Act already is there. So that is a baseline for us, in terms of consent mechanism, in terms of so those things are where the PI data lies. We have to identify that, classify that, and then accordingly we put controls and consent mechanism, which is the key of this DPDP Act coming in. So that has to be streamlined. May 2027 is the deadline for the actual implementation. So everyone has in BFSI sector now. I think everyone has initiated the gap analysis of the environment of their own organizations, and wherever there are gap in terms of vis-a-vis the DPDP Act or framework which has been laid down, basis which those gaps have been filled in by implementing certain tools like consent mechanism and all, and those controls are getting matured and things are streamlining, so that we can achieve our May 2027 deadline of DPDP Act. So we all are gearing up and being ready to come up to the mark to achieve that deliverables of that day, because regulator has very strictly mandated these things, and we all will have to in our BFSI sector will have to abide by it. There's no it's a zero tolerance in non-compliance, because there will be huge fines. 250 crores, it may shut down many operations. So everyone is very careful and very taking this as a very serious and critical activities which needs to be performed in all our banking sector organizations. I have checked with my peers also. We all are, share and gear with all the, exchange of ideas and controls which we are implementing. Everyone has done the consultant reviews, and then we have taken legal opinions also to ensure that we are, correctly implementing things which were or understanding the framework correctly, so that there will be no disaster day of May 2027. So that's what, as far as our BFSI is concerned on this. Back to you, Suhas.
Thank you, Komal. We're coming towards the end, almost toward the end. So I want to ask some rapid fire questions. First, major. So AI in SOC, force multiplier or just a mirage?
AI is certainly a force multiplier, and like I told you, see, there are claims that you make. As a vendor, he pitches it to me, or if I pitch it to my leadership, I have to be having, I have to have a absolute clarity on what I am trying to achieve. Okay, so like Komal also said that there is identification or alerts that has to be picked up. Okay. Second is I have to triage if it is a false alert or if it is true alert. Third, there is a containment activity that I need to undertake as a part of my playbook. Fourth is digital forensic and identification, that what are the traces till I have to have a clear cut starting point or the pivot for that activity. So does AI help? absolutely it helps. But is it one shot problem to my entire agentic AI and AI as agent and all the robotic process automation? Answer is no. And like I coined, I said, and it has been coined that blue team is banking upon or leveraging AI for security. The malicious actors or the offensive teams, they are leveraging the weakness of AI to see that given you have adopted them, where they can just sneak in and have a foot in the door to get to your enterprises. Uh, AI has eased out my all those engagements. They have taken up some of the activities, L1 kind of a role that we were having, but that doesn't absolve not having L2 or L3 to revisit and re-review for the cases like Hugging Face. So back to you, Swaz.
Yeah, thank you, Major. One rapid fire to Komal. Harder to govern, key sprawl or data sprawl?
Key sprawl, just really, really skip that here.
Yeah, thank you.
That's one.
So, yeah, thank you. Major, more dangerous, an unknown OT asset or an exposed service key?
Mm, exposed OT asset, exposed OT asset. For a reason, I'll just bring out the reason. This OT asset, and like any industrial control system, can endanger life. So that's the rationale.
Thank you. Komal, a single exposure score, is a decision useful or just comforting?
I would say comforting until validated. Back to you,
Thank you.
Swaz.
Yeah, yeah. Governance function, Major, governance function in CSF 2.0, overdue or obvious?
Sorry, did missed the last part of the question.
Governance function in CSF 2.0, is it overdue or obvious?
It is obvious. It is byproduct of what we have, or we have what we are facing. So it's very much well in time, or we would have done over, or we would have overkilled if we were having it any time before. So it's well timed, and now we have to catch up to ensure that we are 2.0 compliant.
Komal, AI chatbots as a customer edge asset or liability?
I would say asset if bounded, but liability if unbound. That's my stake on that. Over to you, Swaz.
Major, yeah, thank you. Major, active scanning in
Yes.
production, necessary risk or reckless?
For OT,
Yeah,
active scanning is a risk in OT. No doubts about that. It can bring down entire production or entire plant.
Komal, the cyber role AI changes most in 5 years.
It changes every day, I would say. Because the attacks are coming in which are really, really different with different models operandi. So it's all learning curve. It's like a cat and mouse game.
Okay,
Over to you,
Major,
Swaz.
yeah, Major, manual fallback, resilience or technical debt?
Resilience. Manual fallback is resilience. Any enterprise will be having their business continuity plan playbooks where it will be very categorically call out. If my machines are not working, I'll go back to the pen and paper. I'll go back to the manual worksheets. I've got them printed. I'll start working on them. Machine can no more be trusted when you are already compromised.
Komal, yeah. When an AI agent acts for a user, who is accountable? I think this you already answered. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Major, I want to ask one final question to you. So, if every industry board had to rehearse exactly one cyber failure this year, which failure would you choose and why that one?
Asset reconciliation. No one would know what they actually hold, and what you can't see, you can't protect. That's the challenge. And I'll just say one more thing: the way AI is coming in, and the way cyber is growing, the in cyber awareness and industry leaders, it is not a one-man show. It's not CISO or it's not a CRO. It is a governance board at the apex, including the leadership and the rightful stakeholder. So we are moving away from or a person driven approach from CISO at the core to a more board or the governance club, or the larger body who bring in their expertise to take the ownership of the kind of risk we have. Otherwise, you would be seen as a showstopper, and other will just bulldoze and walk through. So before we roll out anything, this entire board has to come to a common understanding that what is the bargain that we are having for our business use case being rolled out.
Thank you, Major. Next, one final question to Komal. In 5 years, what will separate organizations that merely govern AI on paper from the ones that can actually prove how a decision was made? Komal, you're on mute.
Unable to do it.
Yeah, now you're audible.
What I'm saying is, even if in the, oh, my battery's running down.
Uh,
Yeah. So
Now
in
you're
AI
audible.
era, we'll have to have a visibility, traceability, and explainability, without which and the decision has to be actually proven to the regulator, because in BFSI there is no other option. Zero tolerance for those things. Yeah. Over to you, Suhas.
Yeah. Thank you, Komal. So, what I'm taking from this conversation is that the control surface has moved. It is no longer only the network or the endpoint, it is a model that decides. The key, nobody rotated, the agent acting on somebody's behalf, and the person who still has to know when to stop the machine. Before we close, I want to take a closing take on both of you. Major
Okay.
Summit, your closing take. If the control surface really has moved, what is the one assumption about resilience that industry leaders need to unlearn now?
So people being the at the core, you can bring in the best of the technologies in the world. What they are doing, having a more nuanced approach, not only running behind all the shiny gimmicks and the POCs being sold out to you. uh, Actual value is yet to be proven by AI. So given that we are not very sure and not very mature, it has to be a very slow and steady approach that any enterprise should take in their AI journey. Security control certainly is the second layer of defense, but the compliances is no less. You can bring in the control, but there will be an impediment for your business team which they would not want. So you have to again go back and trust people that whatever guardrail relaxation, like in case of Hugging Case, we have done. We are able to perceive and conceive that what is the risk we are getting exposed to, that has to be called out by the subject matter expertise, and CISO may not be necessarily one of those, and business buy in and accept that risk, because that may have an impact in rolling out the final project. Back to you,
Thank you,
Suhas.
Major. Komal, yeah. Komal, your
Yeah.
closing take and one question, final question. Say the same similar question from where you sit. What is the one assumption about trust and governance that leaders in regulated sectors need to unlearn now?
See, now as when the AI era is emerging, we need to be very prompt in identification of incidents of fraud which are happening across the sectors, and so for that we need to be having, I mean, the preparedness in terms of handling these incidents and the processes which everyone should be aware, and the drills has to happen like tabletop exercises and all, which really helps everyone to refresh those processes and be always ready for these kind of incidents and attacks. So it will be a collaborative efforts across. To see, hackers also collaborate, and they collaborate across globes, across countries, right? So as an organization, each and every team member and the leaderships have to collaborate, participate in those tabletop exercises and stimulation activities of incidents, and those kind of unexpected events, so that we are aware, I mean, and we are prepared always. So that is the always a recommendation for any of the organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Komal. So we are about to end this. So thank you, Major Sumit Sharma, Komal Vora. Thank you for joining us on LA Cyber Talks. So we'll be joining beginning with the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Suhas.
you.
Appreciate the effort that has been put in, and I want to call it out that I have seen a lot of CXO talks from US, UK, where the key or the subject matter experts are brought into a forum to exchange their thoughts. That certainly adds value, ignites the ideas in the budding minds. So compliments, and I hope you do exemplarily well. This journey never stops, and maybe in your hundreds of the episode you bring in everybody, all the 100 key leaders, or in some way where we all celebrate it together. Best of luck, and
Thank you.
appreciate the efforts.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Major.
Thank you. Good day. So we can drop now, right?
Yeah,
Thank
yeah, we
you.
can drop.
Okay, thank
So we are done.
you.
Thank you both.